Welcome back to the Deep Dig Sports Pod. I'm your host, Drew. My other host right over there.
What's up? It's D. Good to see you again. Today, we are touching base on a whole bunch of stuff. So the 49ers are headed into their bye week, losing 3 in a row. They lost to the Bengals. So we're going to touch base on that and everything that comes with it. We're going to touch base on Kirk Cousins. Actually, he ruptured his Achilles. So we'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the Jets.
Levis.
Oh, I was going to touch base on Jets. I know we had a heated conversation before we got on camera about the Jets. So we're going to touch base on the Jets. Our boy Will Levis, he got a 4-touchdown debut. But before we get into all of that, be sure to hit that like button. Drop some comments below. Let us know your thoughts because this is a show that cares. And be sure to subscribe. It all helps us out. It pushes us to other people just like you who want to see this content.
Yeah, I'm just letting you guys know we're recording this on Monday night. This is releasing on Halloween Day, though, so happy Halloween, whoever's listening. I had a spooky morning myself because last night, it's late at night, hadn't ate all day, busy. I go to Postmates me some food, and I'm broke. I'm a broke college student, living in a fucking basement in San Francisco. So I see $5 for a whole pizza at 7-Eleven. And I'm like, what a fucking steal. Like, that could feed me for the next 3 days. I'm just going to order this one pizza. I get it, eat 2 slices, go to bed. This morning I wake up, I have fucking food poisoning. And I've been on the toilet. I was on the toilet for like 2 hours this morning. And then I was in bed. Just feeling terrible. Like, dude, this is how much water I drank today. Like, just trying to stay hydrated and like pass this sickness.
Ooh, spooky.
It was real scary hours over here. So if anyone got a scary story they want to share worse than that, go ahead and drop in the comments. I'm here. I'm fighting through it for you guys. I'm like Aaron Rodgers. I'm coming back early. All right. Well, we could get into some football now. Now that we know where we stand. Not another good week for the 49ers. 3 in a row. Got carved up on the defense side of the ball. Brock Purdy threw 2 picks.
And a fumble.
Yeah, and a fumble. Where do we want to start with this team?
Well, first off, I do want to thank you for battling back, much like Brock Purdy coming back early, probably when you shouldn't have. But yeah, I mean, you want to take this to the offense side and we'll move over to the defense?
It's all a fucking mess, dude. Like, yeah, it's all a mess. Like, where do we even start with this team?
We had texted about this and we're like, what are the takeaways here? Like, where do you feel good? Like, the one guy you do feel good about is Christian McCaffrey because he just keeps getting touchdowns. He's going to break the record. We all know that. So, like, that's awesome. And, like, imagine if this team didn't have Christian McCaffrey, what the fuck we would be talking about? It would be a certified dumpster fire. But you can't feel good about dropping your last 3. Like, I'll give them the Browns game. Hey, it's a road game. It's weird. There's rain. But you're playing the number 1 defense. But at the end of the day, you can't drop those other 2 to the Vikings and the Bengals, especially in the way that you did. So I guess let's just talk about let's talk on the defense and we'll move over to the offense. Like, the defense.
So, like, the defense is getting carved up. And, like, I know last week I was like, let's not worry about it until we see, like, some more. I'm worried. Like, I keep on texting the group chat. Like, I feel like I'm being annoying because I keep texting, how many fucking times am I going to see a wide open receiver in the middle of the field just get a catch and there's, like, no one within 10 yards of him? Like, all you have to do against this 49ers defense is walk to the middle of the field, turn in and sit, and you're wide open. Like, that's how every time they're wide open.
Yeah, and I just don't know what to attribute this to. Like, this has to be one, at least top 3 highest paid defenses in the league. So you have playmakers on all of these levels. Mooney Ward, Dre Greenlaw, Fred Warner, all of the defensive line is highly touted. So, like, why are offenses carving them up? Like, this is ridiculous. And I told you before, I should have fucking bet the Bengals. I should have bet the Bengals, dude.
We thought about it.
I was serious. I was about to do it, dude. And I was just like, nah, you can't do that. But anyways, like, that's why we're Bengals. Yeah, this is No.
You're in the Bengals blue, black and orange right now.
Yeah. No, but seriously, like the defensive line does need to step up. I'm tired of hearing that Bosa has the most QB pressures in the league. No one gives a fuck about that stat. What we care about is sacks and impact on the game. And right now, Nick Bosa just doesn't have any. Like realistically, they stopped double teaming him. That's how bad it's gotten. They've stopped double teaming. They're double teaming Javon Hargrave, which is awesome because yeah, he's badass. But at the same time, our highest paid player is Nick Bosa. You broke records. You need to go out there and you need to produce. And hurries and rushes and all that pressures, that shit don't matter. What matters is sacks, dude.
Yeah, and
What do
also
we,
like them double teaming Hargrave is cool. Like he's great for the run game, but if they double team him and then they just sit back and pass all day, like what does it matter?
yeah. And so
Is
like
it Isaiah Oliver? Is Isaiah Oliver that bad in the slot in the nickel?
looking at stats today, it was pretty bad. I mean, he had some impact plays. Like, so I was confused. I was like, is he bad or is he good? Because he recovered a fumble, he had a couple big hits, but he's getting diced up in there. So he's just not good in coverage, which like that's the main thing for a corner. You're gonna have to cover people. So, but on the other side, Mooney Ward gets chopped up too. Like, so what are we gonna do? Like, that's the best corner.
Yeah, but
Do you
you're
think?
relying on this D line to get there and like make the quarterback make mistakes for this secondary. Like that's why we've been so good. And this D line just isn't getting there anymore. Like, where the fuck is Drake Jackson? Is he hurt? Like, what are we doing?
Gone.
And then Randy Gregory, like,
He's
yeah,
actually had, I think, 2 sacks since he's
yeah,
been on the team,
he's
which is
looked
cool.
decent, but still, it's like the impact's not there. Like,
But the impact isn't there from Nick Bosa.
that's what I'm
Like,
saying. Like the
you know what
D
I
line
mean?
in general, the impact's not there.
So, I mean, where does the blame go on this? Like, I know a lot of people are calling for Steve Wilkes to be fired. I know I've seen Richard Sherman talk about it today, and he was like, "Hey, I'm saying that there's a lot of change that needs to come this week. I'm hearing that they could possibly make a change this week because this is the bye week coming up, and typically, if you're going to fire a coach, you do it on the bye week. So, is that something like, in your opinion, does Steve Wilkes deserve to be fired?
I mean, I don't know because first 5 weeks we look like the best defense in the league. We looked amazing, and now it's just falling apart. I'm not sure. Like, who calls a fucking zero blitz with 13 seconds left at halftime, and they just run a deep route, and then Mooney Ward doesn't knock it down. He tries to go for the pick, and Jordan Addison scores this fucking amazing touchdown. Like it's also on Kyle for letting that play happen. But I mean, Steve Wilkes, what are we doing? What are we doing here with some of these calls?
The only thing I'm like hesitant, like you can't let him go, is because who are you going to have step up? There's no viable candidate. The only one would be probably Chris Kasarik. And if we've talked about it right now, the defensive line sucks. They're underachieving. So why would we promote this guy? So I just think that you're just going to have to buckle up and ride with it. But I could very much see Steve Wilkes being a one and done. And listening to Haberman and Middlecoff last week, they brought up a point. They were like, hey, Steve Wilkes was the defensive coordinator for the Panthers, and then he got elevated to the head coach once they fired that Rule, and the defense got better once he gave up play calling duties and just became the head coach. So like, I know it's different, apples to oranges, but like there is something to be said about this guy, and it just isn't meshing, especially if Kyle's calling him out, if Fred Warner and Nick Bosa are both like, "Hey, we're just not familiar with the scheme. I don't know if it's not what we normally do." So I just don't think you hear all of these rumblings if things are going perfectly, and obviously they're not.
I mean, but it's crazy. Like the first five weeks, like the defense looked like it was full of dogs. Like everyone's going crazy, everyone's going hard.
No, I was complaining a little bit. I'm not gonna
You were
lie.
complaining a little bit, but like
I
we're
was,
flying
bro.
around. We're the aggressiveness of the team in the D line and the linebacker spots were like so off the charts that it was affecting the pass game. I mean, we were leading the league in interceptions.
Yeah, and I could still see like cracks in the armor when you have sustained drives like that. And listening to like Will Compton talk last week when he was on Part of My Take, and they asked him like, how many plays does it take for you to get fucking gassed? And he was like, if you get a first down, you're kind of fucked. Like, you're just like, think about it. You're going hard for 3 plays straight, especially if you have a 3rd and long, which people are, converting against these 49ers. It's so demoralizing, and you're just like, like, and this team is just teams are sustaining drives against this 49ers team. I
But then
think
also think about the offense. Like Purdy, like we're not converting third downs on that side of the ball either these last 3 games.
no, I think we opened up the second half with 3 and out, right?
Yeah, so it's putting more pressure on the defense. So like that side of it's also going hand in hand with the whole team struggling.
Oh yeah, and honestly, like, so now let's go to the offense. So last week, Shanahan really did throw the bus on Steve Wilkes. He didn't drive it on him. He Hulk smashed him with it. This week, the offense doesn't produce again, and there's no one that you could really point the finger at because, I mean, yeah, the defense did suck, but at the same time, you should have been scoring more points. And Kyle's entire tenure has been that, where the defense has to carry this offense, and the offense is just kind of lackluster. So, like, what's going on here? You have all these weapons. Yeah, Trent is out. Yeah, Debo is out. But at the same time, you have all these other guys, and the offensive game plan was just up and down roller coaster. Like last week, Jawan Jennings, who is a very good receiver, got 9 targets. This week, he got 0. Like, what are we doing? Like, you can't just give it to Kittle, Ayuk, and McCaffrey, which he does. And so it's like, okay, well, I know who you're going to give it to. One of these 3 guys, I'll just guard him. Like,
Yeah, it's like kind of what we talked about to start the season. We're winning and cool, but like how much is Kyle just gonna force feed McCaffrey every game? And it wasn't a problem when we're winning, but now it's like, okay, Kyle, they clearly know you're gonna go to McCaffrey every single play, and he's so good that he's still gonna produce, but it's not enough to like overcome that they're targeting him now. And then you're like, okay, now let's switch it up. It's either Ayuk or Kittle, and that's it. Like those 3 are basically the only 3 that contributed on offense for a whole game, which is kind of ridiculous in the NFL. Like, why aren't we throwing to Juwan Jennings? Ronnie Bell's not seeing the field. Like, Danny Gray
Juszczyk is the highest paid fullback.
does Danny Gray exist?
No.
Like, no. I mean, it's just like Kyle. We know you love your guys. Like these are your guys. These ones right here. But you have a whole roster, and they're not all going to be your type of guys. But you have to find a way to work them into your system. And it's just like the level of trust that he doesn't have for other players is ridiculous sometimes.
And I just don't get it. How are they not your guys when you drafted them? You can't say that. You can't be like, I just don't know that. I just don't trust them. It's like you drafted them. You have to get them ready, dude. Like,
and how are they gonna be like turn into your guys if you don't give them opportunity on the field?
yeah, man. So it is frustrating, especially knowing that this 49ers team does have cap space. They have $40 million in cap space. What the fuck are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
bro, let's go shopping. Let's go get someone. I know we can't really give up too much draft capital, but get rid of some of these guys that you don't even fucking use. Let's trade Danny Gray, even though we wouldn't get anything for him. Let's trade Cameron. We can't trade Cameron Law too. He's on the IR, but whatever. Like, let's trade some of these. Trade Drake Jackson. Do something. Let's go out and get Danielle Hunter. Let's go out. I think the biggest need right now is a pass rusher.
Well, let's get into this. Like next week is the bye. Trade deadline's coming up. The rumors swirling about making moves. I think who's the corner they were just in the rumored to be going for?
I know they were talking about J.C. Horn, but
the Bears. I think it was Jalen Johnson.
Oh, Jalen Johnson. Yeah,
yeah, they're rumored to go for Jalen Johnson, and then Kyle's also coming out with a statement saying, "If we don't make a move, don't be surprised because there's not much out there." And it's just like, well, then you need to make something happen. Like it's not going to be certain. There's not going to be a bad team that's like, you know what? TJ Watt, let's put him in the trade market for the Niners. Like, bro, go out there, do your research, and find someone who can you can make available with whatever we have.
Yeah, and that's the thing though. Like, I wouldn't give up a first round pick for anybody that's kind of on the market where you're hearing rumors about. Even Patrick Surtain, I wouldn't do it. Like, there's not an elite pass rusher. There's Danielle Hunter, who does lead the NFL, but you would have to still pay him after this year. I think you'd get him for a second, but there's not like I think the Seahawks just traded for Leonard Williams, so that one's off the table. Brian Burns, who knows what's going to happen with him? So it's like there's not a whole lot there as far as what the need is, and I think the need is a pass. Like if I had to prioritize it, it'd be pass rusher, then corner, then wide receiver, and maybe even a fucking backup running back. Because I mean, Elijah Mitchell not available, but you have to jump him over.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous with the league right now that has a surplus of receivers, surplus of running backs, that we can't trade for one of these guys and kind of just load up. I think we do really need a receiver, because if Debo or Ayuk goes down, like look how the offense is looking right now. Like we need someone who can also like step in and produce, and also just to kind of diversify the offense up a little bit. Like it kind of feels like we have very similar. Like yes, Ayuk's a route runner, Debo's yak guy, but then who do we have? Like Jawan is definitely a possession receiver, but we don't use him.
Mhm.
And so like let's get someone else in here to mix it up. As far as the corners, I mean, I think to me, this secondary room right now, I think we do have some talent there, but I don't know who's gonna be the guy on any given Sunday. I kind of want to do like I don't know if you've seen the last season, Last Chance U, the basketball one, where he was tired, he was like frustrated, the coach, and he's like, you know what? I don't even care about like your recruiting status. I don't care how many starts you had. I'm gonna throw everyone out there, and whoever wants it is gonna be the starter. Like whoever got that dog in them is gonna go, and like all the backups went off. And so I kind of want that strategy. Like, yo, every position's open right now. Like Jair Brown, this is your time. If you want to take a nickel spot, if you want to take a safety spot, like, what are we doing here? It's wide open.
Yeah, I mean, something's got to give. I don't think they are going to make a move, if I'm going to be completely honest. And it is frustrating again because there is so much cap space, but you can't make desperate moves just because you are panicking. That's when you get trapped into the Russell Wilson of it all. You know what I mean? You make a bad decision that affects you for years down the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll get on and talk about this next week if a trade does end up happening. But let us know in the comments. What are you thinking about the trade line? Do we need a lineman, wide receiver, corner, all the above? Are we just gonna wait it out? Because Debo's coming back, Trent Williams coming back. Maybe we'll just get back and rolling once it's all perfect for Kyle. Once he has his perfect Shanahan system.
Speaking of which, yo, I know we didn't have this on the agenda, but I just thought of it. The Kirk Cousins of it all. So Kirk Cousins ruptures.
No, this isn't a non-topic, bro. You're the only one talking about this,
bro. I think it's set up. It's a crash course.
We'll talk Kirk Cousins right now. Yeah, go ahead and do your Kirk Cousins take.
I think it's a crash course for Kyle to reunite with Kirk Cousins this offseason, dude. I think that it's setting up perfectly. Yeah, he ruptures his Achilles, but that's going to lower his price tag. And what are you going to do? You're still going to have Brock there. What is he going to do? Fucking sit out of being the backup? You're not going to play any games anyways. What are you talking about? You're on a rookie deal. I think it's set up perfectly, dude. I think that he is going to end up going and getting his Kirk Cousins.
Dude, just a few weeks ago, we're talking about Brock Purdy being the MVP candidate this year. And Brock, had some struggles, but like he's also looked good in these games at times. Like it's basically his rookie year. Let's calm down here. He's on an amazing deal for this team who doesn't need him to be a superstar quarterback. They just need him, be good enough. Kirk Cousins, 30 plus age, right? Whatever, how old he is, coming off an Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, yeah, he was lining up the stat sheet earlier this season, but he hasn't really had a lot of like playoff success.
They didn't have a good team. They don't have a good team. So, I mean, they don't. But you put in a guy who is, again, a certified top 10 quarterback into this. You plug and play, let's let it rip. And we've seen that, hey, if we just get solid quarterback play, which is what we had with Brock Purdy, and I'm not saying that Brock's not the guy. I'm just saying that if he continues on this trend, Kyle's going to be looking. He's going to be looking at other spots. Honestly,
Cousins.
Were you surprised that Sam Darnold didn't get to start this game? Because it felt like they really rushed him. And did you see that that play where he hit his head again towards the end of the fourth quarter?
Yeah, honestly, I wasn't surprised that they played Brock because I mean, Kyle trusts him completely, and I don't think Kyle would have felt comfortable rolling Sam out there without like fully knowing, you know?
Kyle's a fucking psycho. Like, bro, he really could have got Brock hurt by doing
Yeah.
that.
I really
And
wanted to
he
see
did.
Sam
He
Darnold
might
this
have. Who
game.
knows? Like, would you be surprised if, tonight or later tomorrow, they diagnose Brock with another concussion after that hits the head?
Maybe not diagnose him, but I think if we heard later in the year, like, oh yeah, he starts to play better, and then they look back and be like, that
It
concussion
rang his bell, yeah.
it really bothered him for a few weeks. Like, yeah, I really thought we should have saw Sam Darnold this week, but I mean, it's Kyle. Kirk Cousins currently 35 years old, sir, and you're so 36-year-old quarterback off an
Bam.
Achilles tear.
Bam.
How much you gonna pay him to come here and battle it out with Brock Purdy? When this locker room is already on Brock's side. They're not giving up on him yet.
If he continues down this path, yeah, we're gonna have to give up Kirk Cousins. I bet you he'd take a discount too. I bet you he'd take a discount.
All right. We're not talking Kirk Cousins anymore. This is ridiculous.
I guarantee you, coming off an Achilles tear, who else is gonna give him 30 a year? Nobody. I would give him like 20 a year and be like, all right, cool.
The Niners are not gonna give up $20 million a year to Kirk Cousins next year.
Bro, if they're trending the wrong direction,
you guys let us know in the comments. Do you really think Kirk Cousins would come to the 49ers, or they would pay him enough to come here? Because I don't think so. And even then, he's coming off an Achilles. Like,
not really. I'm just an agent of chaos. I think that'd be
no. You really want Kirk here?
I don't really want Kirk, but I also shop at Kohl's, so I support him. But hey, healthy recovery. I hope he does get back.
You are the Kirk Cousins of our fantasy league.
Just enough to win.
Another team that is hoping to get their quarterback from an Achilles, the Jets. Another dub on the season in ugly fashion. Zach Wilson, albeit he gave him a game-winning drive in OT, but I'm more just so pessimistic about this Jets situation than you are. I know we were talking about it before, but Zach Wilson looks terrible. He looks awful. If there was another decently competent quarterback in his position, this team would have so much better chance winning. And yes, they did beat the Giants, led by their third string quarterback in overtime. Like, Giants are not a good team, and Jets were struggling to beat. And it wasn't the fact that Zach Wilson couldn't do anything on offense. It was the fact that Zach Wilson turning the ball over and giving the Giants opportunities to beat them. And that's why when they went to overtime. So I just, if they want to take the rest of the season serious, even before Aaron Rodgers, if he does come back, they need to make a trade for a quarterback who is competent, a competent NFL quarterback. Like, I don't even care anymore. Brian Hoyer, give me him. Like, Taylor Heineke looked great when he stepped in for Desmond Ridder this week. Like, there's some guys out there, just like take a chance, get them learn the offense in the bye week or whatever, and just be done with the Zach Wilson thing.
You just need him to be good enough to beat the shitty teams. That's it. That's it. You've already won a couple games where you should have lost, right? A la the Bills, a la, like, you know what I mean? So there's a couple of games that you should have already lost. But like, if you think about it, they have the Chargers, the Raiders, Bills again, Dolphins, Falcons, Texans, Commanders, Patriots, still on the board. Those are all winnable games. You know what I mean?
I don't think those are all winnable games. I think that at best, like against the
Raiders,
bad teams, it's like 50-50
Raiders,
against
the
bad
Chargers,
teams.
Falcons, Texans, Commanders, Patriots. Those are 6 winnable games right there on their schedule.
Okay. Well, we could go through it really quick because I have a different opinion.
Okay, go ahead.
Chargers, they're not going to beat the Chargers. No.
They're not going to beat the Chargers? The Chargers suck this year.
No, they're not going to beat Justin Herbert.
They beat up on the fucking Bears. That's
Falcons are, I think, would give them a challenge. I think that's a 50-50 game. I'll give you the Raiders. Raiders suck. Texans are going to beat them. Texans are pretty good. Yeah. CJ Stroud's real.
I like CJ Stroud, but they are not.
Tank Dell all over the place. Texans going to win that game. What else do they got?
Commanders
will win that game.
No, they won't.
Yeah.
Bro, they don't even have a quarterback anymore.
They almost beat the Eagles twice.
Yeah, because they play them. They're division foes. Like, they know them. They are not a good team.
They're decent.
They're
I'm
not
saying
good.
it,
They have a fucking head coach that doesn't even know
at best,
situations.
some of these games like the Texans, Commanders, all that, Falcons, they're like 50-50 for me on the Jets because
Uh,
Zach Wilson can make turnovers and like give the game to the other team. If this defense for the Jets doesn't hold the other team under 20 points, like it's over already because they can't score. They couldn't score against the Giants. They beat
that's
them
true.
13 points in overtime. The Giants suck. They're one of the worst teams in the league.
That's true. But all you have to
Falcons are
do, get
Falcons are
dubs.
leagues above the Giants right now.
The Falcons suck, bro.
They're
No,
leagues.
like
They have
their
so much
quarterback
talent.
play was so bad. Maybe with Taylor Heineke, it does turn around because they do have offensive weapons. Bijan, I think he's going to be a historic running back, dude. He looks awesome. Kyle Pitts, if they ever figure out what the fuck to do with them. Who's the receiver I'm thinking of? Drake London. He doesn't really do shit, but whatever.
He's looking pretty good, actually.
Whatever.
Johnny Smith actually is looking way better than Kyle Pitts right now.
That's because he gets passes thrown to him.
Well, yeah, because Kyle Pitts can't catch.
Have you seen that video where Kyle Pitts just falls down all the time?
Yeah. Did you see the video of the trick play that they ran where Johnny Smith threw a pass?
Yeah.
And it was like Johnny Smith, your backup tight end, threw a pass to your third string tight end, while Kyle Pitts, the highest drafted tight end ever, blocked.
Oh,
but if Taylor Heineke's that quarterback, I mean, Desmond Ritter's been up and down. Like he's had some good games, had some bad. If Taylor Heineke's their quarterback, they're winning that game. I'm full in. I think if Taylor Heineke should have been the starter this whole year, they'd be looking better.
Yeah, but you invest a draft pick into Desmond Ridder, you got to ride it out and at least see what's going on. Yeah. I think that they beat those teams. I really do. Like
we'll see.
I think that defense is too good, and realistically, Breece Hall is a star. He's awesome, dude. You just get him the ball in space, he looks amazing. You got to get a couple 5 to 7 targets on Garrett Wilson. He looks good, but if you can just stay afloat and wait till Rodgers gets back, Rodgers is already walking without a boot. He's already dropping back and throwing passes. It's insane how fast he is recovering. I wouldn't be surprised if he's back before the playoffs start. Like this point.
That's another thing about this team I'm skeptical on. Like, yes, we see him kind of throwing the ball and setting his feet. I don't think he's going to come back this year. That's like crazy.
He's already said that's his goal to come back this year.
Yeah, but you can't you can't mentally will a tendon.
Or he's like dating a witch.
Like you can't motivate a tendon to heal. Like it's not a muscle you can work out. It's like it has to have time. Yeah. And if he does come back, like he said, he has to be able to protect himself. He has to be able to like confidently step on it. Like, is it just gonna pop again if he comes back too soon?
Yeah, that's true. That's the one thing
real risk.
Like, real iffy about. But as far as the Zach Wilson of it goes, you have to roll with Zach Wilson. There's literally nobody else. Did you see the Vikings are actually going to trade or looking to trade for Jameis Winston? So, I mean, unless you get aggressive and do that, but
I'd trade for Taysom Hill.
Are you going to give up draft capital in order to do that? That's the one thing. It's like we don't really have much because we just gave up a bunch for Rodgers. What can we really do here? We're not going to give away players because that's going to weaken. Like that is kind of irrelevant at this point. So there's not a whole lot of maneuvering that they can do. I think you just got to roll with it, dude.
Yeah, you guys let us know what do you think about the Jets quarterback situation. Another guy we wanted to talk about was Will Levis, our guy in the whole banana and the peel on the field there, drinking the coffee with the mayo and throwing touchdowns to D-Hops. What a performance. And I just quickly want to talk about Mike Vrabel and the Malik Willis and Tannehill thing. I think Vrabel, sort of in a Ron Rivera way, like he deserves not credit for this Will Levis performance, but he should be shamed for coaching this guy and having him third string on your team when this guy could look like this. Like last year where Ron Rivera wasn't going to play Sam Howell and literally Taylor Heineke sat himself and was like, no, Sam Howell's good. You need to play him. It's like, bro, you're the fucking coach. How do you not see that this is the best guy on the roster? And Malik Willis, we knew way already he wasn't the guy. And the fact that you came into this game saying we're gonna do a 2-quarterback system, that's a fucking joke. Like, you're a joke of a head coach if you're doing a 2-quarterback switcheroo going into the game. Just admit Malik Willis was not the guy.
Yeah, I think
Like,
they should have just did that
we saw
immediately.
him. We saw him. Like, why didn't they just start Levis?
They did start Levis, but they wanted to work in Malik. I don't know how much exactly they did end up working him in, but I seen that muffed snap, and then he got booed. And did you see afterwards Will Levis' comments on that?
No.
He told Titan fans that they better come correct. They shouldn't be booing his guy, Malik. And everyone was like, dude, this guy's a franchise quarterback, like a franchise stand-up dude. Like, after throwing 4 touchdowns, like, and then standing up for your now your backup, like, he's just all around. He lit it up, dude. And you know what he did that like really shows me he knows what he's talking about or knows what he's doing. He got D Hops involved. That's one of the big things that you see with rookie wide receivers is they're afraid to throw it 50-50 balls. The windows are so much tighter in the NFL than they are compared to college. And this guy had no problem just being like, fuck it. D Hops is down there. And D Hops still has that ability to go up and get the ball. 50-50 balls. He's obviously slowed down a little bit, so he has to work in tighter windows, and he's much more comfortable doing that than the average receiver. And Will Levis definitely took advantage of that.
Yeah, Diaz got away with a pretty bad offensive PI on one of those deep balls, but you know.
Did they call it? Did they call it?
I think my one like skepticism with crowning Levis as like this amazing quarterback is all those throws were just deep ball 50-50, just bombs. Like, can he, outside of those huge plays, kind of dice up a defense and, you know, hit those windows in the middle of the field? We know he has a cannon. We knew that. But like, every play isn't gonna be fuck it, he's down there somewhere, throw it as far as I can, and like if he outruns everyone, we're good, you know? Which he's hitting those, but how consistently is he gonna hit those, and can he do it other ways? But I mean, credit where credit's due. I thought Will Levis was not gonna be a good quarterback. I mean, we talked about this pre-draft. I mean, he really proved a lot of people wrong this weekend.
I was really thinking that the Raiders were going to draft him. And if the Raiders had this quarterback,
imagine Jimmy Garoppolo's the franchise guy.
Raider Nation would be going fucking insane right now, right? Like, if drop back, he fucking throwing bombs, and you're like, yes, he has Devon. Like, that would have been the perfect spot for him to go early. But he comes back. He ends up looking really good with the Titans. I think you got to build around this guy. You got to start to look and see, okay, what are we going to do this season to really kind of make sure that we're taking full advantage of it? I think they're going to go out and draft a really fast receiver to go to do those go routes. You're going to still continue to have D-Hops to do more of a possession guy. Maybe you go out and get another tight end, something to figure it out. But, man, I know that they were thinking about trading Derrick Henry. I think you keep him, you see what you got in this offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, might as well. Who's playing quarterback for the Raiders tonight?
I believe it's Aiden O'Connell.
Oh man, yeah. I really like the kid, but like, another thing, that's the same thing with like, how do you roll out Brian Hoyer when like everyone knows Aiden O'Connell is gonna do better than him? Come on, McDaniels, get it together. But yeah, I think we wanted to talk more quarterback talk with the Browns, because Deshaun Watson is out. I mean, every week it's like, oh, he might play this week, and then no, he's not going to play. And it's been that for like, I don't know how long. No timetable on his return, his shoulder. What is he, 250 million guaranteed?
Yep.
Something like that. So, and when he did play, he did not look good. Yeah, he looked terrible. This Browns team, I wanted to talk about them because I was like, oh yeah, they're not good. They're not going to do anything. But they've surprised me. This team is really good, and they're doing it with no quarterback play. Like, PJ Walker is rolling out there, Dorian Thomas Robinson. He is not looking there yet to carry this offense. Both quarterbacks have struggled. They haven't really done much, but they've got enough to win games because of this defense and because of these skill players. So, how are we feeling about the Browns right now?
And not only are they not doing this with QB1, right? They're not doing this with Nick Chubb, who is a monster for this team, dude. So to do this, basically the defense is just Myles Garrett is putting the whole team on his back, and like this team is playing tough, just hard-nosed football. If they imagine if this team had a competent quarterback, even a top 15 to 20 quarterback, just in those, from 15 to 20 range, what they would be doing. Like, it's insane.
Because even with PJ Walker, they've looked better than what they did with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson is literally the opposite of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had to fight, scratch and claw to get paid. And when he did, he proved them right. He's going out there balling. He looks like he's going to be the MVP this year. When Deshaun Watson basically was like, you know what? I don't really want to go there. The Cleveland Browns were like, we'll fully guarantee your contract. We'll fully guarantee your contract. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. And did you see his QB coach got into it with Brady Quinn?
No.
Yeah, that dude, I think Quincy something, got into it with Brady Quinn, and Brady Quinn was like, oh, let's massage this conversation and let's get a happy ending for everybody.
Yeah, that's the thing is like he came in with so much controversy and it was kind of like, wow, you're really going to guarantee all this money for this guy? And the rest of the league was looking at them with the side eye because they don't want to give out those type of contracts. And the fans are looking at them like, wow, this guy really has to play amazing to win us over. And it's just not been the case. And you would have thought like, okay, a contract for a starting quarterback, maybe a top 5, top 10 quarterback, the expectation coming in, like 45 mil a year, great deal. But now it's like, man, we really wish we didn't have all this cap money tied up with this guy. And if he were to play, I think we said this way back, like he needs to play this full year to get back into the flow, knock the rust off. And then next year we'll see how he is. But now he's not playing and it's just going to keep delaying this, like him getting back into the swing of things. And you can't get off his contract for at least 3 years, maybe 4, because his cap hit is
goes up fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's his dead cap is over 200 million for the next 2 years individually. So like 220 and then like 200 next year. The year after that, I believe it's like 125 million dead cap, and the year after that, I think it's 75. So you really cannot get rid of this guy for 4 years, no matter how bad he plays.
Oh man, and Stefanski's pissed because he's an offensive guy. He's like, all right, well, I can scheme it up the best I can, but realistically, it's on you, Deshaun. And Deshaun just doesn't look interested. He just doesn't look like he wants to be out there. He like at least once or twice a game when he does play, he just throws up random throws and just like, fuck it. Yeah, whatever. Someone will catch this or it'll be
He had to address the question where they were saying if he doesn't want to come back this year because it's Cleveland, he doesn't really care. And he was like, oh, why do you think I do this? Like, of course I want to play.
I mean, the money, that's why we think.
Yeah, so I mean, it's going to be weird in Cleveland because like even look at Baker. Baker's playing pretty good for Tampa. I mean, they're not like they don't have an amazing record, but they're better than people thought, and like Baker's better than people thought. I think he's for sure a starting quarterback in this league. And imagine him right now with this team. They'd be putting pretty good numbers up.
I mean, you ran out the guy who got you a playoff win after being a joke franchise for years and years and years. It's because you needed a quote unquote adult in the room. And then you go out and get a guy who's proven to be questionable at best with decision making. So
at best
questionable.
Yeah,
It's pretty
I mean,
ridiculous. You can't even, like, justify it with good play, like, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, he might be a monster off the field, but he's a monster on the field." You know what I mean?
scary Halloween. You have to go hang out with Deshaun Watson. Ooh.
Ooh.
He just slid in your DMs.
Oh, no.
um, so I think it's tough because we were saying just a couple weeks ago, Russell Wilson had the worst contract in the NFL. It's terrible. And now we're like, Deshaun Watson, you're taking up the mantle. You were so bad that the Broncos now are looking pretty good. So Broncos just beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And Russell Wilson, he's back at it. They're riding.
Did you
Well,
see what they did? They played Taylor Swift after they won.
I'm so sick of seeing Taylor Swift involved with the NFL. They need to break up already.
I seen one tweet. It was like, "Taylor Swift need to go to Germany already."
Dude, yeah, that stadium would go crazy.
Fuck.
I saw Jackson Mahomes was involved already. They were doing like a handshake with
Ugh,
Patrick
no.
Mahomes' wife, Jackson and Taylor.
Ugh.
So Jackson might be making a comeback. This just much like Russell Wilson, Jackson Mahomes is making a comeback second half of the season.
Oh, no.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. I feel like they can't get rid of this guy also, but they had a prime
Jackson Mahomes, they
opportunity.
can't. Yeah. He's a package deal.
Yeah. No, Russell Wilson, they can't get rid of this guy, but this was like prime opportunity for them to tank, and they're winning too much. They should have started trading away like their players already. They already got rid of Gregory. They got to get rid of Sertan. They got to get rid of some of these receivers to try to tank.
But at the same time, like, I don't even think they have their pick. I don't think they have their first round. So why you tank? What does it matter? You know what I
Oh yeah,
mean?
do they still they gave it up for the Russell Wilson?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All
Oh,
right, sorry, Deshaun. This might be the worst deal in the league still.
yeah. Let me see.
Seattle's cashing out. Seattle won this trade. Devin Witherspoon is great. I
Dude, he's a
mean,
dog.
yeah.
Did you hear what he said about Deshaun Watson?
Huh.
They told him that Deshaun Watson wasn't playing, and that the doctors told him he couldn't, and he was like, "Oh, okay, this is the first time he took no for an answer." Dog,
God.
dog, the Legion of Spoon.
I would have
Oh
thought
man.
Deshaun would have went to New England with Robert Kraft. They got a lot in common.
Hmm. Oh, dude. I mean, we haven't even touched base on the Seahawks. They're first place in the NFC West. How
Yeah.
ridiculous is that, dude? They're good. Like, all credit to Pete Carroll. They moved off of a guy, and not even just Pete Carroll. The GM, the owner, everyone was like, you know what? We see the vision. We understand what we're doing here. We need to move off of Russell Wilson. And for years, they were butting heads and they made it work. They decided, hey, it's coming to a tipping point. We have to choose either Pete or Russ. And they made the right choice where a lot of people really would have chosen the franchise quarterback because, hey, you know what? That's the moneymaker. You don't go against what this guy wants. And they were like, you know what? I think we have the culture in place. We feel good about our guy. Let's go ahead and do it. And they made the trade. And people were like, oh, they're tanking. And they haven't looked back, dude. They've taken all of these picks. They've took 2 tackles, Devin Witherspoon. Their
Tariq Woolen's good.
offensive weapons are insane. Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, and Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Dude, Jake
Awesome.
Bobo.
Yeah, Bobo.
Bobo might be better than Jackson Smith right now. Like he's so good.
Bobo. Yeah, dude. So
Honestly, Bobo's better than Tyler Lockett right now.
yeah,
Trust me, because I just dropped Tyler Lockett in fantasy.
but like, think about it. Like, it took a lot of fucking balls to make that move, and they're just getting paid in spades over this, dude. So kudos to them for moving off of Russ. And now you're looking at the Broncos team and you're like, it doesn't even make sense for us. We got to get some pride wins here because it doesn't make sense for us to tank. What do we get out of it?
I just want Broncos to lose every game, so at the end of the season, I could say This was the worst coaching job in the history. Just throw it back in Sean Payne's face. But yeah, I think they're just ready to. Sean Payne's just chalking this up to like, whatever. This is a recruiting season. We're just
Oh,
gonna
I think they do have their first round pick this
we're
year.
gonna tear it all down. Sean Payne's gonna fire everyone in that team. Like he's gonna fire everyone, dude. He doesn't even care about the season anymore. He's just like,
Bro.
who's gonna work hard and listen to me, and then that's it. Everyone else can get the fuck out. Because really, like, other than Russ, who are they attached to? Like, I feel like they can cut 40 of these players off this roster right now, and they would not care.
That's genuinely true. Like, I think they're ready to be like, we're just done with this shit, dude.
There's no one on that team right now that stands out to me where they're like, you are a cornerstone of this team. We want you here. Like, yeah, there's players that are good and have talent, but there's no players that like jump out at you like, yeah, let's build around you, or like let's keep you in the framework of this team. Like, I'd be like, end of season sale, everyone must go. Like, let's get them out of here.
All right, this does change the conversation. They do have their first round pick this year.
Yeah, see?
Fucking trade everybody. What are we doing here, guys?
Trade them.
Why did we get this away?
Trade everyone except McGlinchey, because you're gonna want that guy if you want to lose. You're gonna want that guy.
Their own first round pick. They have a third round pick. They have a fourth round pick, and 2 5ths and a 7th.
Yeah,
not a whole lot to work with and maneuver.
Fuck them picks ain't looking so.
You
great
gotta
right
start wheeling and dealing here, guys. Get rid of Surtain. Get rid of what's the other guy?
Jerry Jeudy.
Get the fuck out. Jag. Just another guy.
What's crazy to me is I feel like the culture of the NFL is kind of shifting now. Like, because remember the fuck them picks?
Yeah.
And like everyone did all this crazy trades, and now it's like, hey, make sure you build through the draft because your team needs to be good. And also, we went through this like solid phase, and like I think people are still in that mindset. But if you look around, it's kind of shifting, where you need a MVP star quarterback, like crazy good, and everyone's trying to hit on that. But if you look around the league, a lot of these good teams are just built really well, and then they have a good quarterback. Like the Lions, Jared Goff, the Niners, Brock Purdy, the Vikings had Kirk Cousins. Like, look at the teams that don't have a superstar quarterback and they're still winning. Like, because realistically, you're not going to find Mahomes. You're not going to find, like, Caleb Williams, we'll see if he's Mahomes. But, like, who knows? I think the way to go is to shift towards the building your roster out and then getting a good enough quarterback.
Well, then I look too, like, again, this draft is going to be an anomaly, right? There's going to be 5 or 6 very viable quarterbacks and maybe up to 10 with like Spencer Rattler coming in the 4th, where you're like,
why is he so high on boards? Like,
in the 4th? He actually looks pretty good this year.
Yeah, I'm out on him.
What? Anyways, this is not Spencer Rattler talk. That's
welcome back to the Spencer pod, the Rattler pod. Cover
the
everything.
Rattler Rambler.
We're just gonna talk Rattler all day.
But yeah, I mean, where you're seeing the gap between quarterbacks isn't as wide as you think in this draft. From Caleb Williams to Drake May doesn't seem like a crazy big gap. And then you look at from Drake May to Michael Penix. It's like Michael Penix is actually pretty fucking good. And then it's like, okay, Bo Nix. Well, Bo Nix is fucking old. He's been there forever. He knows what he's talking. He's a vet. So like you start to look at these guys and you're like, damn, I don't need to get Caleb Williams. I'd be fine with getting the 4th or 5th quarterback, but you never know. And I think if you do have that, like how you're saying, build up the rest of the team, and then you go out and you get a guy like this, like again, Michael Penix to the Seattle Seahawks would be awesome. Not only is he a hometown guy, but you've built an explosive offense around him.
And I think too, we're not even accounting for like some of these guys from last year's draft who can come up through a system still, like the Jake Hayner, Aiden O'Connell,
Will Levis. Everyone thought Will Levis was dead on a roster.
Yeah. And so like we're pretty quarterback rich right now if you're like looking at the mid to high mid level. I think there's like a lot of talent right now. and it's gonna be hard for these guys to find jobs,
Fuck yeah,
honestly,
it is.
because
But
but the XFL and the USFL are combining, swallow your pride, go play a season. Look at PJ Walker right now. He's a starting quarterback in the NFL. So,
yeah, 100%.
uh,
And you have that extra quarterback on your roster that you can dress out on game day. That helps out too. Not all teams are taking advantage of it, but it does open up more jobs for people.
or just go play flag football in the Olympics.
Yep, that's true.
Um, all right, I think that's everything for this pod. But the last thing we want to get to is the disco. So this is the Deep Dig Disco, disco short for discovery, where we just, talk about something we discovered this week. Could be shows, could be music, could be a movie, could be literally anything.
Yes. And so obviously we're sports guys through and through. We love this shit. That's why we do this every single week. But at the same time, I have to do other stuff. It just has to happen. So my disco this week, I went out. I took 3, almost 4 hours out of my day to go see Killers of the Flower Moon, the Martin Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Leo DiCaprio vehicle. And honestly, it was awesome. I loved it. And I hate to say that I loved it because it was such a sad topic. It covers the murder of Osage women, Osage tribe of Native Americans who were the richest people per capita. And it takes place, I believe, in like the 40s, a long time ago, like in the early 1900s. But yeah, it covers this group of people that are then taken advantage of by white people, and it's a very sad topic. It will piss you off, but it is a good movie. Honestly, the performances were very powerful. And even though it was 3.5 hours, it did fly by. I think Leo's going to end up getting a nod for Oscar talk. I think Scorsese is going to get Oscar talk as well. So we'll see. But yeah, I would highly recommend, if you have the time, go ahead and check it out. It was a great movie.
Nobody has time for a 3.5 hour movie. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really jump out at me. Maybe I'm not a big like these old directors making really long movies
I
kind
will
of
say
guy.
this, though, it was a very important story. Like, historically, those stories are underrepresented and need to be told. And I'm glad he did take the time out to not only make the movie, but also meet with Native American leaders and say, like, I want to represent you in the best light. Would you actually like to just be in the movie? And so it was awesome to see.
Yeah, I appreciate that aspect. I wish it was told more from their perspective
Yeah.
rather than the Leo white guy side of it. But you know what? Maybe I'll check it out after the semester and when I have a little bit of free time. But for me, I will go. Mine's more of a throwback because sadly we did lose Matthew Perry this past week. Um, really, really sad to hear. I mean, he's sort of iconic for this role in Friends, and so I wanted to throw it back. We're getting past Halloween, getting towards Thanksgiving, getting towards Friendsgiving. I want to go watch the Friends Thanksgiving episode. Feel like really nostalgic watching that. I'm not really a big Friends fan, but that episode stood out to me. Like they go play football, they hang out. It's Thanksgiving, and I'm looking forward to my Friendsgiving. Our dedicated listener Matt, I'm ready. We're definitely playing football this year. We're watching games all day. It's gonna be a good time. So I'm in charge of bringing the green bean casserole this year. I'm gonna do it up. Don't knock green beans, guys. The green bean casserole, it's good. Trust me. Well, at least
Sneaky.
mine.
It's one of my favorite dishes.
It's sneaky because as a kid, like I always looked, I was like,
Yeah,
that looks
gross.
disgusting. Yeah, and then I ate it as an adult, and I was like, oh, where has this been? It's so good to like add into the Thanksgiving sandwich that you make. Where all the little thing like
Oh yeah. Speaking of that Friends episode, is that the one where he makes the sandwich of leftovers and someone at his work eats it?
yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. It had like his name on
Oh,
it. He's like, I threw it away. If you want the rest, he's like, you threw it away.
I can only eat half of it.
Yeah, so definitely, yeah, just go watch some Friends and then go hang out with your friends because that's important.
That is important.
All right, guys, that's everything. Go ahead and comment, like, subscribe. We appreciate you guys, and we will be posting again during the bye week. So we got to figure out what we're gonna bet on this week for the disco. Maybe we'll bet on some Warriors.
I'm fucking
for
tired of
the
losing. First off, God
we
damn.
should for the diamond pick this week. Maybe we'll talk Warriors.
Yeah, over under on Clay coming back. He's out of here, right?
We talk some Chris Paul. All right, guys. See ya.
All right, later.